G'day everyone, welcome to the Big Footy Eagles podcast. Once again this week, we're talking all things Gold Coast, West Coast coming up this Sunday. Round 1 is on the way. And of course, we're going to do our season predictions. Where are the Eagles going to finish? Who's going to do well for us? All that sort of stuff. I'm Honey Badger 35. I am joined today by Miguel Sanchez. Happy Paddy's Day, Miguel Sanchez. I think I've accidentally remuted you on that one there, Mix. But anyway, we'll crack on with that. Here we go. Miguel's back. There he is.
You got me?
Nice.
You got some nerves.
I got you now. Oh, for fuck's sake. We're not doing the Bevo Tom Morris. We'll be here all night if we do Bevo and Tom Morris. I got some thoughts on it. But anyway, Keys, you're back with us as well. You've showed up. Thank you for that. How's things, Keys?
Yeah, good. Yeah, looking forward to footy being back for...
It's nice.
Men's footy. Men's footy's back.
Men's footy, of course. I know, fair enough. Although, I mean, in the KD Eagles LW side, they never really got going. So Eagles footy certainly back this week. I was a bit, am I excited for it? Am I not excited for it? But it's all sparked off in the last couple of days. And last night, press conference and Rimmon done and a Carlton finally good. So there's plenty to talk about in the world of gents, but we don't care about that. We care about the Eagles. And Sunday, Migs, the West Coast Eagles take on the Gold Coast Suns. This is a matchup that in years gone by has been a bit of an easy kill for the Eagles. And then in recent years has actually been a real arm wrestle. It's one we've struggled with. So they're low on numbers at the moment, are West Coast. We've got the teams in here. We can go through them in a minute. But what are you expecting out of this game?
Well, you said the West Coast Eagles are taking the field on Sunday. It'll be 23 guys in West Coast Eagles jumpers, but
exactly.
Some of them might be a bit unrecognisable. We haven't gone with any of the top-ups. We haven't gone with any sort of fans in the jumper having to pull the boots on and jump over the fence. But, yeah, it's pretty threadbare at the moment. So, yeah, Gold Coast have been a little bit of a almost bogey side for us in the last few years, and they're reasonably close to full strength, and they'll be eyeing us off as a bit of an easy kill with the sort of very threadbare team that we've named.
Yeah, we started the week, gamble responsibly as always, as the bookies' favourite. Keys. It swung very hard the other way as news came out. We've got, Kelly out. Ryan was under a health and safety protocols cloud. He is back in. Shuey's out. So, Keys, I'll quickly read through the team and then I'll get your thoughts on where we are in this matchup. The back line is Barras, Rotham. Half line, Wilson, McGovern, Foley. Not the worst unit there. The centre line, we've got Samo, Petreski, Seaton. We've got Redden in the centre and Zach Langdon named on a wing. Petruccelli, Dixon, Rioli, Ryan, Kennedy and Waterman are your forwards. Nat Nui, O'Neill and Gaff are your on-ballers. And Keys, the bench, you can pick 4 from the following: Hoff, Winder, Jermaine Jones, Bailey Williams, Jack Williams, Callum Jameson, Harry Edwards, and Patrick Naish. An interesting lineup to be a round lineup.
Yeah, it probably, if you look at the two ends of the ground, it's not terrible. Solid back line. It's a slightly inexperienced forward line, but there's some goal kickers up there. You've got Kennedy and Rioli and Ryan and Waterman. Petch can kick a goal. So you've got some guys up there who can kick a goal. Apart from the big dreadlock fella in the middle, it's a pretty skinny looking midfield. I think that's, we talked about it on Tuesday night. That's where we're going to struggle. I mean, Redden and Gaff, they're too solid. They're probably our two least dynamic midfielders. And then you're looking at, Petreski Seaton, who's sort of couldn't quite make it as a midfielder at Carlton, that we're hoping could come on. And then, what is it? O'Neill, Langdon, and who's the other one?
Probably Naish.
Yeah, so we're pretty. That's the concern. So, yeah, it's whether we can get our hands on the footy enough. The bench, I've been trying to work out who the 4 will be. And I think obviously Jack Williams and Jamison won't make the side. They're not ready.
And Hoff's been confirmed as in, so there's one.
And Hoff's the definite in. I can't believe we'd be leaving Jones out of the 22.
Not after that Freo game.
So then you're throwing up Williams, Bailey Williams, Edwards, Naish, and Winder in any sort of combination, depending on how we sort of want to go. But two of those miss out. You can't imagine that they're going to run with either Williams or Edwards as the concussion sub. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. I can't quite get my head around it. So personally, I'd probably have Naish, and then Williams or Edwards. I'm not really sure on, and then Winder as the sub. But I can see us going with. It won't be a popular decision. I can see us going with Naish as the sub, just so that you can maybe sit in the stands and watch what's going on, and then inject him into the game if required. Truth be told, I'm hoping we don't actually need the concussion sub or the injury sub. So, I don't know. I think given Winder hasn't played in the pre-season, he supposedly hasn't been injured. I suspect Winder will be the sub. And then we'll run with one of Edwards or Williams. Probably, I don't know. Probably Williams.
So, I mean, Migs, Keys touched on it then. You look either side of the ground, it's not the end of the world. Nelson, McGovern, Foley, not a bad half back line. Hearn, Barras, Rotham's pretty close to best 22, where we'd set it anyway. So, back line's okay. Forward line, we know we're missing a few people, but Ryan's in there, Rioli's in there. Pet should be getting the game anyway. Waterman, where's he at after his preseason? But, it's the centre line. It all comes down to the centre line for the Eagles. And for me, I guess I'm looking at Rioli to play a part there. I'm looking at Jermaine Jones to get a few, centre ball ups and centre ball attendances, things like that. It's going to be that little bit of midfield by committee because on paper, we just don't have it. And you swing it over and have a look at the Suns midfield line. They've got Miller there. They've got Ellis. They've got Sharp, who's a little bit linked to the Eagles with draft history, of course. Rowell, Noah Anderson, Jared Witts and Nick Nat. Witts has had a shortened preseason, but that's a good ruck battle there. On paper, the Suns midfield looks to have the ascendancy there, plain and simple.
Yeah, absolutely. And we spoke on Tuesday about the 10 midfielders that we've got out of the side. Probably 11 if you include Duggan as someone who could potentially go through there. So, yeah, absolutely down to the bare bones there. So I think for that reason, Naish has got to play. I think he's more ready to be an AFL midfielder than Winder is. And, otherwise, as you said, Jones is going to have to take some shifts in there. Rioli's going to have to take some shifts in there. Petch or Ryan or basically whoever wants to put their hand up. But a lot of it's going to fall onto Nick Nat, I think, and the battle he has with Witts. And I think we need to play Williams as well. I think we need to, given that Gold Coast have got Chol, I think will play. I think he was named on the extended bench, but I don't think we could have Nick Nat and a part-timer or a couple of part-timers go up against Witts and Chol. So I think Williams has got to play. But it's really going to come down to Nick Nat giving those guys first use of the ball because, if Gold Coast get first use of the ball, their midfield is absolutely going to kill us. And we've seen what Raoul's done against us in the past, and Tuke Miller's coming off an All-Australian year. So, we are definitely going to need to get first hands on the ball. And, the guys that do play in there are just going to have to work their asses off.
Keys, Miguel just brought up Chol there, and it's an interesting one because the Suns have sort of had to top up to get their forward line up and running. A few injuries there, especially to the bigs. You've got Casbolt and Chol leading the line as their named centre-half forward, full forward combo. Rankin, look, I'm a bit outspoken on Rankin. I understand the hype and I understand he does something spectacular, but he also fades out. So nonetheless, Rankin's a guy that can hurt you. Ainsworth, I feel like, has killed us a couple of times, but maybe that's just because I'm sensitive to the Ainsworth name. Lukosius, a lot of buzz about him. So their forward line on paper, it's a mixed bag. The Eagles' back line's not in a bad way, but I think, once again, it ties into that midfield. Our backs can't afford to just cop silver service again and again because there is some talent in there, especially once he hits the floor.
Yeah, it's not. I think Scholl's a pretty good developing player, and I've got a sneaky suspicion he actually played pretty well against us when we played Richmond last year. He had a fairly good game, and then I think Nick Nat started taking him seriously and started to push him around a bit. But, he's certainly got some ability. Before I go too much further, good morning to Kate. She'll be watching from the morning in this tomorrow. So good morning to her. And I think one thing that I've seen bits of the two games so far this round, and one thing that's sort of stood out, and that's a bit of a legacy from last year, is its sides scoring goals in runs. There's been some real, quite savage swings of momentum, which means that, sides are going to, when you've got momentum going away, you're going to have to maximise those opportunities and then sort of hang tough and keep the side out when momentum's going against you. And unfortunately, that's two things that last year we didn't do very well at all.
No.
Particularly
and had done to us.
Once the side got a run, our backs just just weren't up. We looked disorganised and things like that. The thing that worries me is saw Richmond cough up a lot of goals to Carlton in the second and fourth quarters tonight, and they're a side that, in some ways, their defence is not dissimilar to ours in the way they set up, and they got run through like witches' hats tonight. So once the midfield of Carlton got on top, I mean, Richmond still got some good defenders, the same as we do. But if that ball's coming in there, and us being a systems-based defence, the way the direction the game is going, that type of system zoning type defence can really get cut open. So that's a real concern if the likes of particularly Rowell and Miller, if they start getting control through the middle, that's going to really hurt. And someone like Rankin, who as you say, is pretty inconsistent, but if he gets a couple of goals and starts finding a bit of space and gets his tail up, he can really hurt us. And we touched on Tuesday, we're a bit light on for smallish defenders. So he's someone that can really, and we've seen, Casbolt's, people like to laugh at him and things like that. He can take a grab. He's a good contested mark.
No, on his day he can do plenty. Lukosius can move.
If Gold Coast are getting the ball deep, and Carlton's sort of, clutching a few close to goals, well then, it can look a bit skinny. At the other end, Collins has got a pretty good record on Kennedy. He's sort of troubling his partner. Collins is a good, honest defender. And without Darling and Allen in the side, we haven't really got another proven tall marking target to keep the other defenders honest. So Kenny can expect a lot of double teams and blokes filling the hole in front of his leading space. So it's going to be up to Waterman. Waterman's going to have to get in his bike and move around and play that sort of Darling type role. He's capable. He's done it in Waffle. He now has to take it up because he's probably going to draw one of their taller defenders. He's going to have to make that guy honest so that the guy can't sag off Waterman and get in Kennedy's road. So it's a big game for Waterman.
Good point. Yeah, good point. We'll get on to, I suppose, who we're hoping to have a big game a little bit later on. Migs, we've been talking about doing our preseason wrap-ups. Where are the Eagles at in terms of, are they holding something back? Do they have some sort of trick up the sleeve? I know it's hard with the personnel that we've got, but yeah, far out, you and me both. Having a look at the stats from last year for whatever previous season stats are worth, last year the Eagles led the comp in marks, but the Suns were third in marks, so it's not like they're a side that's just going a mile a minute. They can still control the ball. The other one, though, you're swinging around, the Eagles were last in tackles. Despite playing possession footy by this metric, Suns are fourth in tackles. So that was with a much stronger lineup than we've got at the moment. If you look at last year's stats breakdown and if you look at how the team sort of fared, I'm sort of a bit worried about this one. So what is the ace in the hole that we've got? What do you think the Eagles can try to pivot away from the game style that, frankly, I don't think is going to stack up this week?
Yeah, well, I think the ace in the hole is the yeah, Paul makes a good point there. It's feeling
like a eulogy, gents. Where's the optimism? Sorry, Paul. Yeah. We'll pep up in a minute. Don't worry about that.
The last month or so, it's just sort of been piling on. You know, injury after suspension, after COVID tests. So yeah, it does feel a bit like that. The ace in the hole, I think, is the magic new game plan that we've been holding back that we're going to implement in round one of the season, because we didn't really see any of it over the preseason. I think Simpson said they tinkered with it, and you could sort of see maybe that they were trying to move the ball a bit quicker and try and bite off that 45 kick a little bit more often. Whether we've got the personnel to do that, I'm not sure, and it's possibly going to hurt us to start with, at least while we're learning the new game style and while we haven't quite got the cattle on the field, and we haven't got a lot of leg speed still in the side, even with the changes that we've brought in this year. So, sorry, Paul, I'm going more and more down the last rights. But, what I'd like to see is having the confidence to pull off those kicks, move the ball quickly. Yeah, none of this sort of tempo footy, because we saw last year it didn't work for us and we just got killed on the rebound. So we're going to get killed on the rebound. We may as well at least try and roll the dice a bit.
Keys, we'll go to the predictions then. I need a margin from you, and you've already highlighted that you want Waterman to have a big game, so I need somebody who is going to have a big game as well from yourself. Do the Eagles get a win on the board in round one, or is it going to go the way that Paul doesn't want it to go, a bit of a eulogy vibe to this one? Let me know. What's going to happen on Sunday?
All right. I'll start. I think our ace in the hole is intent.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we showed last year when we played the Carlton game in particular, sticks in my mind, where we had, I think, a similar, probably not quite as deep, but a similar injury run.
Yep.
And we weren't, it was pretty pessimistic going into that game. The guys played their heart out, and I think that's, put it this way, if the playing group, I mean, they've been whacked left, right and centre for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and, being told that they're no good and they suck and they can't win and things like that. If the boys can't get up for this game, well, then we generally are in for a long season, because you imagine we've got some experience, Kennedy, McGovern, Hearn, Natanui, Gaff, Redden. We've got some guys who should be wanting to play with a bit of pride and a bit of intent. And if we can bring up sort of a real hunger for the contest, tackles in themselves aren't the be all end all, but if we can pressure the ball carrier, helps the defence, just play with a bit of heart. I think outside of Miller and Rao, the Gold Coast midfield's not super damaging. There's good players there, don't get me wrong, but I don't know that they're, you're not looking at a Melbourne or a Bulldogs style midfield. So I think if we can sort of put pressure on those two and limit their effectiveness and try and get a hold of, Rao chopped us up 2 years ago. And last year he did his knee in the first quarter, so we didn't quite see what he was capable of that game. I think we can win.
There you go.
My heart's saying yes. My head's sort of not quite sure, but I think last year, most games I said West Coast by 24. I'll halve that and go West Coast by 12.
Nicely done. Best on?
And I'm going to back Gov in.
Gov?
Gov.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he owes us a big game. Good chance we don't know for sure yet, but a good chance he runs out there as captain. If it's not him, it'll be Nat Nui. But yeah, I'll back Gov in, and we'll need him to have a big game and clunk a few, take a few intercept marks, and he's actually one guy who will back himself for an attacking kick. He fucks a few of them up.
Yeah.
But
he's an 8 out of 10 kick that thinks he's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, when he gets hold of it, he will back himself to take a risky kick. So, and we'll need him to do that, because if we're going to get the Suns, we need to get the ball into our forward line quickly. So I'm going to back Gov for a big game.
Nicely done. Very nicely done. Miguel, who wins, by how much, and who impresses us?
I think it probably depends on whether Nat Nui or McGovern does run out as captain, because it seemed like last year we won every game. We won every game that Nick Nat captained, and then we lost every game that McGovern captained. So it could be as simple as that.
That's just stats.
I think the lack of a midfield is probably going to be too much to overcome. Sorry, Paul. I'm going to tip with my head and not my heart, and I think we'll put up a good fight. We won't embarrass ourselves. We'll walk out with a moral victory, given all the outs we've got. But moral victory, but a scoreboard loss by 18 points. Best for us, I think, Samo Petrevski-Seaton.
Nice.
We'll have seen his old mates have a good win tonight. He'll be keen to show his wares in the midfield, given an early opportunity, which maybe we weren't expecting when we traded for him back in October or whenever it was. But he'll get a real opportunity to run through the guts, which is what he wanted at Carlton and didn't get. And he'll grab that with both hands, and he'll help to carry what's left of our midfield in the absence of pretty much everyone.
So we've got a victory over the Suns and a moral victory over the Suns, which isn't maybe the best of reading.
Victory over the footy gods.
Over the footy gods. There you go. Jesus. It's all happening at Keys' place. We've got... Look, my head, the injury list, all of that, it says the Suns win, but that's not what this podcast's about. So I'm going to say the Eagles are going to win. I'm going to say we're going to win by a really dumb margin, like 28 points, which is probably too high, but I don't give a shit. It's sad that that's too high against Gold Coast. Here we go. Willie Rioli is going to impress us. And whether he's best or not, I don't care, but he's going to do something fun. We're going to throw him in the middle of the ground. He'll do a few things that make us go like, oh, yeah, remember Willie Rioli? And that'll be worth the price of admission anyway. So let's say that.
Yeah.
Somehow the Eagles are going to pull this out. I don't know if I believe it, but if I keep saying it, it might actually happen. Let's talk season predictions in general now, gents. A bit of a broader one. A few things. I suppose let's start off with where do you think the Eagles are going to finish? High hopes in seasons gone by. Miguel, ladder position, if you had to put a number on it, where do you think the Eagles wind up? And at a best case scenario, what do you think the ceiling is for this version of the West Coast Eagles?
I think the ceiling is that they can make finals. We've got a fairly cruisy first 4 games. If we can get through that, even 2-2, I think Keys sort of did this analysis the other night. If we can get through that, start getting some soldiers back, the guys that are sort of filling in, get some experience, get some confidence, we can sort of hit the season running. Here you go, Paul. I'll put some optimism in.
Just personal show for Paul at the moment. I love it.
Well, based on the comments, it pretty much is, because the only other comment.
I think he's our only listener, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, good man. Come on down. Jump on the show, mate. Get a mic.
It's Paul. Look, I think I'm not ready to write off finals yet. I think we can do it. We pretty much need everything to go right from here. I think the team
That's
sort
a
of
good attitude ahead of round 1. But anyway, there we go. It's not your fault.
Well,
It's just it's the footy gods. No, I agree.
It's so much. I mean, pretty much everything has gone wrong, hasn't it? Apart from the fact that you mentioned Willie coming back is probably about the one highlight, I think.
Sure, yeah.
I think they retooled over the off-season. They went for one last roll of the dice, re-signed Kennedy and Hearn for one last year, thinking that we could push for a flag with this group. Everything probably needed to go right for that to happen, and everything has gone horribly, horribly wrong since then. So, premiership, probably a little bit of a bridge too far, but I think we can still make finals. But if I was a betting man, and I am, I would be betting on us to finish somewhere around 12th, 13th, 14th.
Pretty low.
Sorry, Paul, not the complete bottom of the ladder, but definitely a lot lower than Eagles fans are used to finishing.
Yeah, I agree. And you pointed out those first 4 games. I think the best case is a 7th or 8th place finish. You win a fair few home games and jag a few here and there. But, I mean, you said it, and I know it, I hit you for it, but you do need everything to go right. And when that's the case before round 1, not the best start. Those first 4 games are massive. If we come out of those 1-3 or 0-4, then the really hard stuff starts. And I think we could be staring down the barrel of a big season. Really just with the way the fixture's structured. You know, you could get your heads down and sort of finish really quite poorly, but we own all of our picks, so don't worry about it. Let's have some fun and watch some footy this year. Keys, where do the Eagles finish in 2022?
I think we're probably going to be in that 11 to 14 range. I just, as much as I'd love to see us make finals. I think we've seen in seasons past interrupted pre-seasons. It's so hard. Even when those players do start coming back, they're underdone. They're older. I just can't. I mean, there's been 4 games I've seen 3 sides who are already clearly better than us. And I think Richmond are probably about we're on par with, and we haven't seen Geelong or Brisbane or Port Adelaide or Sydney. There's if we get on the roll middle of the year, maybe I think. Yeah, I think there's probably 6 sides we're better than. If I really Hawthorn, Adelaide, I think with a close to reasonable squad, I think we're better than Gold Coast. I think we're better than North. I think we're probably better than Collingwood. That's 5, isn't it? No, we're better than Fremantle. Nope. Fuck those wankers.
There you go.
So we won't finish lower than 12th.
Oh, I love that. It's good.
I'll run with that. And if we do get some of those soldiers back and we can hit the round running and not get too many more injuries throughout the rest of the season, fuck it, why not make finals and beat?
Why not?
Beat Port Adelaide after the siren in double overtime or something.
That'd be nice. Nice change of pace there. Okay, a few quick ones on who we like individually, who's going to impress us this season. Leading goal kicker, look, I've put Josh Kennedy. It's where we're at the moment because Darling's going to miss a month at least. Oscar Allen's going to miss about a month, if not a little bit more. Ryan, he was a consideration here for me, but I'm not too sure about that. Beyond that, it's pretty thin. I'd love for Hugh Dixon to kick 70. That'd be great. But Migs, who's going to lead the way for the Eagles up front?
I'd love for Willie to do it. It's probably going to come down to which of those big 3 plays the most games, I think. The last time we had a small lead our goal kicking was probably Lacroix, and he played bigger. So, I think history shows it'll come down to Darling or Kennedy or Allen. Kennedy's looked physically in good nick so far, as opposed to the other 2 who are laid up. But, whether he's... What is he, 43 or something at the moment?
That's right.
Plays,
43 years old.
Whether he probably misses 5 or 6 games during the year. Darling has been pretty durable, so once he gets back from his foot/arm injection in the arm injury that he's
right. Be careful. There you go.
Yeah, probably don't want to go down that. Yeah, we might alienate our listener. Yeah, so if he comes back in about round 5, he could play 18 games and he could win the goal kicker.
Yeah.
Ditto for Oscar Allen if he gets a run at it up forward, and we don't sort of try and use him down back or in the ruck. So, yeah, difficult to say. I'll say Darling because I think that's the most likely that he comes back and plays just about every game from when he returns.
Keys, who leads the way?
I'm going to say Darling. I think he's been vaccinated with super glue, so he's going to come back with really, really sticky hands. And I think he'll be willing to prove a point too. I feel been a lot said about him, and I don't think he'll miss more than probably three, maybe 4 games at the outside. I mean, they sort of talked about a foot injury, but the vision from training had him running. So, his foot injury can't be that. Yeah. His foot injury can't be that bad if he's already running. So, and I think we'll use when he does come back. We'll use Kennedy as a bit of a decoy. Run through Darling. So I'll say Darling for leading goal kicker with 52 goals.
Jesus, that's a fair return if he's going to miss 4 weeks of footy. That's not bad. Oh, well, there you go. Best and fairest, I'll say Tom Barrass. This is a weight of numbers thing. Nick Nat has been incredible. I would back him in to continue to be incredible, but I thought Barrass started the year really well last year. The backs are going to get slammed, so he's going to have a lot of opportunity to show off his wares, basically.
Actually, I'm going to go Barrass for leading goal kicker.
There you go. Tommy Barrass leading the way. Nicely done. Well, Barrass, best and fairest, and he's going to do that by leading us in the goal kicking as well. Miguel, who's your best and fairest for the West Coast Eagles?
Solves our dilemma of not having very many forwards win the best and fairest. We're going to get Barrass to win it as a key position forward.
Swing Hunter forward. Let's do it.
Yeah. Who's going to win our best and fairest? I probably can't say Nick Nat because that's the obvious one.
Go on.
Gaff is durable. He's probably going to get more responsibility this season, I think, with Shuey sort of winding down. Sheed's missing half the season. Yo's out for a little while. Kelly's probably going to get a bit of attention. Gaff's shown himself to be durable. He's a vote getter. Hopefully we start using him a bit more on the outside than we have in the last couple of years, which I think plays more to his strengths. And, if he plays every game and shows something sort of approaching his 2018, 2019 form, he could pip Nick Nat for the trophy.
Keys?
Yeah, it's actually really tough. Once you put a line through Nat Nui as the cheap pick, given he's won the last 2 and he's clearly our best player. Barrass is a good pick. I think he's in the leadership group. I think he looks like he wants to take a bit more responsibility. But you two guys have already basically said those 2. I don't think Gaff will win it. Shuey is going to have super glue injected into his hamstrings and they're going to hold up. And Shuey is going to surprise everyone. And especially Kane Corn, who thinks he shouldn't be captain, and he's going to give you a big FU and win our best and fairest again.
Was Corns ever captain?
Was Corns ever right?
No, Corn said.
Funny that.
Sheed should be captain.
Yeah, because he was younger and more durable and injured for the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season.
And has never been in the leadership group.
Never once, no. But he kicked that goal that one time, and that's the game that they all watched. So there you go. Right, lastly, finishing it off, most improved. You can interpret this however you want. Is it improvement from a B player to an A player or somebody who's going to stand up and cement themselves as a solid best 22, whatever you like. I've got Jermaine Jones. Big fan of Jermaine Jones's preseason. The midfield minutes early, he's going to get a crack at a few, I'm convinced. And right now, the small forward depth, it's actually not a bad group. But if you've got Willie rotating through the middle, Jones, Ryan pushing up the ground, all this sort of stuff, there's going to be the opportunity for a crummer somewhere. Hugh Dixon, he's the sort of bring it to ground type forward that I think I've made fun of in the past, so serves me right. But with that, ball spills to ground, Mosquito fled at the floor, maybe Jermaine Jones has a breakout year. Keys, I will let you go on this one. Who do you like for most improved?
Don't pick mine.
Rotham.
Good, short and sharp.
I'm going to go Rotham. I think he's been pretty steady with his improvement. And I think out of all the players most likely or most capable to fill the hole left by Shepherd, I think Rotham's got that same sort of ability to play on tools and spalls, his pace. He's got a good kick when he has the confidence to back himself in and use it. And I think like with some of these guys out, I think he's going to probably be given a bit more responsibility. So I'm going to run. I'll go with Rotham.
That's a good pick. Miggs, was that your one? Did it get stolen?
No, I'm very similar thinking, but I picked Foley.
Okay, yeah, nice.
Similar reasoning. I think he's going to get more responsibility in the absence of Shepherd and the absence of Cole for probably most of the season at least. Duggan's missing at the moment. I think he'll become a regular member of the back six. And yeah, I think we saw plenty of improvement from him last year as well. He's really settled in down back, and I just think he's a AFL player, and he'll show that this year, given the extra opportunity.
Very nice. Well, nicely done, gents. That is the round one preview in the books. We've got the game on Sunday, Optus Stadium. Hopefully the Eagles can get off to a flyer. But Miggs, Keys, thank you very much for jumping on the show.
Yep.
Yeah. You should leave.
Before we go, I've got one clip.
Yeah, go on. Oh, here we go. Keys is going to give the first clip of the season.
Go on, we go. Caro, is there a dumber journalist that's a head writer of a major newspaper? I mean, we have 3 players in COVID protocols, one of who had 4 kids that came home from school with COVID, and
one of whom is playing, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Got a protocol. So she comes out and says, somehow we weren't taking COVID seriously, which is like, what the fuck? And those comments aged about as, I won't say it because it's unfair and it'd be cheap and petty like her, but actually, I'm going to say it.
Be nice.
The comment aged as gracefully as she did.
There you go. Well, there it is.
3 different clubs got hit with COVID protocols the very next day.
Yeah, and the final got cancelled. AFLW final got cancelled.
Wrinkles, and
oh, for God's sakes!
And one of them is one of the clubs, AFLW teams, have had to postpone their elimination final because 17 players are unavailable. So, we're not taking it seriously. Fuck off.
Well, there you go. Keys saw what Tom Morris said and thought I can do better. I like that. Nicely done. That will do it for us for today. We'll be back early next week to recap a huge victory over the Gold Coast Suns. Thank you very much. But until then, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, wherever else, Spotify, you know the drill, at WCEBF Pod. Tell a mate, share the show, jump in the comments, have your say, all that good stuff. Gents, thank you for being on. To the viewers, Kate, good morning. I hope you've enjoyed this one when you wake up and listen to it tomorrow. Paul, love it.
Thanks, Paul.
Love it, mate. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, Paul.